You are with the big story here. I'm Seher Zama, and we're focusing in on the developments that have taken place the past 3 weeks regarding the PMC Bank scam. While on one end you have investigators moving forward in those investigations, having attached assets worth crores of rupees that belong to the accused, but the PMC depositors are still stuck in a limbo. They're still struggling to get access to their own money. The big question here being on why, with investigations on, why the PMC directors are not being questioned. In fact, our correspondent Kajal spoke to Ranjeet Singh, PMC Bank Director, and what he claims here that he's been completely unaware of the loans that have been given to the HDIL group, saying that the group was never mentioned in board meetings. Ranjeet Singh has further added that even the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, awarded an A category to the bank in its audit report. Take a listen in.
मैं पिछले 8 से 10 साल के ऊपर डायरेक्टर था और पिछले 10 साल में जब पीएमसी बैंक 2 या 4 ब्रांचेस थे और मेरे प्रीमाइसेस में आके उन्होंने बैंक की शुरुआत की थी, तब से लेके मेरा फैमिली जो है पीएमसी बैंक के साथ रिलेटेड है। बट आज पिछले 10 से 15 साल में कभी HDIL ग्रुप्स का नाम बोर्ड में आया ही नहीं। उनको कितना लोन दिया गया या क्या किया गया, हम जितने भी तमाम डायरेक्टर्स हैं उनको HDIL के बारे में पता ही नहीं थी। RBI भी बोल रही है ऑल इज वेल। RBI की ऑडिट रिपोर्ट आई है, उसमें कैटेगरी A दिया गया है और आज से नहीं कहीं 10 साल से दिया जा रहा है।
Let's get in further inputs. Our news editor Avni Raja with those details here. Avni, we were always given to understand here the basis on which these loans were sanctioned was a go-ahead that was given by the board of directors. Today, they're not just speaking out in public denying it, but they're not being questioned on this either.
Yes, absolutely, Seher. In fact, if we just rewind a little bit in that press conference that the suspended MD held, in his personal capacity at the time, where he addressed the media and, revealed the fact that it was 6,500 crore loan that was given to HDIL. That point itself, he had mentioned that, this was not a loan that was approved by the board. And that really started, that sort of then catapulted into alarm bells ringing and action sort of quickly happening after that. So the question really here is that how is it possible that the board of a particular bank is not even aware that where majority, and it's not even a small part, it's majority of the loan book is going to one particular entity. How is it that the entire board is not aware of it? Are the systems so bad that things like this, it's so easy for things like this to actually fall through the cracks? So obviously questions are now being raised as to whether the directors are just trying to...
Not just a question of the question of systems being too bad, but the systems here being compromised. The board of directors, even in the investigations, are investigations being compromised? Should that question really be asked? Because if the board of directors have still not been questioned yet, if one of the board of directors here says that even the RBI gave the bank an A category, so the auditors need to be questioned in on this as well.
Yes, absolutely. The auditors definitely need to be questioned on this, and there has been no movement on that so far. In fact, what we've learned is that the role of auditors is being looked at, but nothing concrete, nothing substantial. But of course, the auditors do need to be questioned, and this sort of really gives us an insight into what is the extent of, how bad it can get in terms of this kind of covering up of this kind of a scam. Because remember, Seher, the way this entire scam was covered up was by substituting the big accounts which were not repaying the loans with several small dummy accounts to sort of make it look like there was nothing out of the ordinary there.
Right. Avni, a bank has several board of directors, but when you have one of them speaking out fearlessly, very openly saying that we've been absolutely clueless, who was then taking the call? Where should this investigation then be headed? On who was taking the call on fudging these records, fudging the log sheets, and giving out these loans?
Well, Seher, let's remember that when somebody wants to carry out a fraud or commit a fraud or do cover up something, there are multiple loopholes that one can really make use of. And in this particular case, the ex-chairman, the suspended managing director are two of the main accused in this case who were instrumental in covering up this entire loan. So yes, there perhaps are more people who knew about it, but there could very well have been people who were not aware at all. The question really really is, that is of course the investigative agencies need to really question these directors and find out whether they were genuinely not aware of any of this, or whether, they themselves are also were part of this entire cover-up, or were they just not responsible enough or didn't look at things closely enough to try and see that something was wrong. Because obviously there would have been red flags at various points in time, but nobody even thought it important to sort of look into it further. Even if there were red flags, it is the responsibility of the board of directors to look at those red flags.
This has been intentional, of course. There has been no innocent overlooking here on this. Avni, please stay with us. Let's get in more voices. We have Mr. Charan Singh Sapra of the Congress with us on the phone line. Thank you for being with us. In your view, is it time that board of directors now, auditors need to be questioned? It's high time. If this nexus is further being established, they should immediately be questioned.
Yeah, definitely this is a nexus. I have been saying this from day one, that there's a nexus between RBI and the board of directors and the MD. Now, this fraud has been going on since a decade, like 10 to 11 years ago. This started slowly. 20,000 accounts, duplicate accounts were created. It cannot happen then when the RBI auditors are coming quarterly and doing the inspection. No auditor has caught hold of these fraudulent
All right,
accounts.
we apologize for that interruption. We're going straight across.